Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Monday, April 26, 2021. A lot to get to today. NBA, NHL, Major League Baseball from the weekend and looking ahead to today's games in each sport. We'll recap the NASCAR races from Talladega. We'll do my latest NFL mock draft. The latest news and notes. We'll recap who won all the big awards at the Oscars and my best bet of the day. We are going to start with the NBA from the weekend. We will begin with Friday's results and work our way to Sunday. So, without further ado, here we go. Friday night, Hawks over the Heat, 118-103. Nets over the Celtics, 109-104. Hornets over the Cavs, 108-102. Clippers over the Rockets, 109-104. Wizards over the Thunder, 129-109. Warriors over the Nuggets, 118-97. Grizzlies over the Trailblazers, 130-128. Saturday, Knicks over the Raptors, 120-103. Bucks over the 76ers, 134-94. Pacers over the Pistons, 115-109. Heat over the Bulls, 106-101. Spurs over the Pelicans, 110-108. Mavericks over the Lakers, 108-93. Timberwolves over the Jazz, 101-96. And the Nuggets over the Rockets, 129-116. Sunday, Hornets over the Celtics, 125-104. Nets over the Suns, 128-119. Grizzlies over the Trailblazers, 120-113. Wizards over the Cavaliers, 119-110. Hawks over the Bucks, 111-104. Pacers over the Magic, 131-112. And the Warriors over the Kings, 117-113. All right, 11 games tonight. That's a lot. At 7 o'clock, you have the Hawks and the Pistons. My projection for this game, no Trae Young, by the way. It is Hawks 10, total 222. I swear if Detroit's favored, I'm going to freak because that should not be the case. And it is Hawks 5.5, total 220. I'm going to lay the 5.5 for the Hawks. I think that they should win this game comfortably, even without Trae Young. John Collins is there. The Pistons just stink, too. So give me the Hawks minus 5.5. And I think other guys like Bogdanovich and Huter could step up as well. The Lakers and the Magic, I'm at Lakers 15.5, total 216.5. And obviously, no LeBron. And that almost cancels out with the trades Orlando made. And I'm sitting at 10 and 211.5. I'm going to lay the 10 with the Lakers. Anthony Davis is back, but he's questionable for tonight. So actually, I'm going to avoid the 10. I'm actually going to go with the... that's a hard one. So you can make a case that the over should be avoided without Davis, too. So say Davis plays. I'm going to lay the 10. I'm going to do what I said. Next up, you got the Thunder and the Sixers. I'm at Philly by a whopping 21, total 221.5. It was 11.5 and 219. I'm laying the 11.5 with the Philadelphia 76ers. The Spurs and the Wizards, I'm at Washington 1, total 226.5. No, Spurs 2, total 228.5. I'm taking the Wizards in the 2 and plus 108 straight up. The Wizards are on an 8-game winning streak. Make it 9. Next up, 7:30, you have the Suns and the Knicks. Great game from the Garden. I'm at Suns 11.5, total 217. Meanwhile, it's 2.5 and 215.5. I know I'm probably going to be wrong. I have to change my adjustment for the absence of Mitchell Robinson, considering how well the Knicks have played. And the reason why this projection for the Knicks is low is because of where their numbers started before the year. And yes, it's gone up and up and up and up. But, I did not think this team was going to be good at all before the season. Meanwhile, the Suns, I thought were going to be good. I was right about the Suns in the sense of I thought they'd be good, but I didn't think they'd be this good. I hate to do this, but I'm going to lay the 2.5 with the Suns at minus 108. Next up, the Cavaliers and the Raptors. I'm at Toronto 7.5, total 219. Meanwhile, it's 10 and 217.5. I'm taking the Cavs plus the 10. I know Colin Sexton's not there, but Darius Garland's there. He'll keep them within the number. I know Boucher on Toronto. 8 o'clock, you have the Bulls and the Heat again. I'm at Miami 13.5, total 219. Meanwhile, it's 5 and 207. I'm going to take the over 207. I know Zach LaVine's not there, but Vucevic is there. And Jimmy Butler's playing, Bam's playing. No Oladipo hurts this, but I'm going to go over 207. That is way low as a total. Jazz Timberwolves, I'm at Jazz 21, total to 26. Meanwhile, it is Jazz 10, total to 28.5. I'm laying the 10 with the Jazz. Next up, you got the Clippers and the Pelicans. I'm at Clippers 8, total to 26.5. Meanwhile, it's 3 and 227.5. I'm going to lay the 3 with the Clippers. I know Kawhi's not there, but Paul George is there, and I know that the Pelicans have a nice roster, but they're the biggest fantasy team in the NBA, and I mean that is that they have a good roster, except that they have a bad record. That's what I call a fantasy team. There's a couple other examples of fantasy teams around sports, and the Pelicans are the best example in the NBA. So I'm going to lay the 3 with the Clippers at minus 106. 9 o'clock, the Grizzlies and the Nuggets. I'm at Denver 8, total to 26. Meanwhile, it is Denver 4.5, total to 28. I'm going to lay the 4.5 with Denver. I know they don't have Will Barton and Jamal Murray, but I think that they could win it going away a little bit because of Jokic and him going for the MVP. So I'm going to lay the 4.5 with Denver against Memphis. At 10 o'clock, NBA TV, the Mavericks and the Kings. And by the way, the first NBA TV game of the doubleheader is Suns and Knicks, which is, like I said, I think the game of the night, personally. And you could argue Grizzlies, Nuggets, but Chris Paul and the Suns vying for the 1 seed at Madison Square Garden is the sexiest matchup on the table. And at 10 o'clock, NBA TV, the Mavs and the Kings. I'm at Dallas 14.5, total 227.5. Meanwhile, it's 5.5 and 227.5. Laying the 5.5. I know Luke is questionable, but if he plays, that line's only going to go up. So I'm going to lay the 5.5 with Dallas right there against Sacramento. All right, so that's it for the NBA for the show today, and now we will move on to the NHL from the weekend, as we will look back on those games and look ahead to tonight's slate in the National Hockey League. We'll begin with Friday night. Rangers over the Flyers 4-1. Sabres over the Bruins 6-4. Preds over the Blackhawks 3-1. Flames over the Canadiens 4-2. And Wild over the Kings 4-2. Saturday, Penguins over the Devils 4-2. Blues over the Avs 5-3. Caps over the Islanders 6-3. Panthers over the Hurricanes 4-3 in overtime on a game winner by Alexander Barkov. Stars over the Red Wings 2-1 in overtime on a game winner by Jamie Benn. Maple Leafs over the Jets 4-1. Flames over the Habs 5-2. Wild over the Sharks 6-3. Golden Knights over the Ducks 5-1. Canucks over the Senators 4-2. And the Coyotes over the Kings 4-0. Sunday, Penguins over the Bruins 1-0. Rangers over the Sabres 6-3. Flyers over the Devils 4-3 in a shootout. And the Lightning over the Blue Jackets 4-3 in overtime on a game winner by Victor Hedman. All right, looking ahead to tonight's window. 8 deep. At 6:30, you have the Canadiens and the Flames. That is an early game for a game on the western side of Canada. Calgary's minus 138. Montreal's plus 118. Over under 5.5. Over is minus 104. Under's minus 118. Canadiens plus 1.5 is minus 240. Habs minus 1.5 is plus 195. I'm going to go over 5.5 at minus 104. This is the no-carry price play. I know Jake Allen's been a good backup for them all year. But I could see Calgary putting up some goals. I could see Montreal putting up some goals too. I think this could be a 4-2 game or a 4-3 game potentially. So I'm going to go over 5.5 at minus 104. 7 o'clock, you have the Canucks and the Senators. Vancouver's minus 124. Ottawa's plus 106. Over under 6.5. Over's plus 110. Under's minus 134. Vancouver plus 1.5 is plus 210. Ottawa plus 1.5 is minus 260. I'm going to go Vancouver in regulation at plus 125. Vancouver's been good since coming back off the COVID pause. They've won 3 of their 4 games, and the one loss was a shutout home loss against Ottawa. But they're better than that. I'm going to take Canucks in regulation plus 125 at Ottawa. Avalanche Blues. The Avs are minus 168. The Blues plus 142. Over under 5.5. Over is minus 134. The under is plus 110. Avalanche minus 1.5 is plus 155. The Blues plus 1.5 is minus 188. The Blues are vying for that last playoff spot in the West Division. They are a point back of Arizona. There's a good performance on Saturday on NBC. I think they'll follow it up with another win and supplant the Coyotes in the division for the time being. So I'm Blues plus 142 against the Colorado Avalanche. 7:30, the Hurricanes and the Stars on NBCSN. That's a good game. Hurricanes minus 126, the Stars plus 108. Over under 5.5, overs plus 102, unders minus 124. Carolina minus 1.5 is plus 220. The Stars plus 1.5 is minus 275. This is a tough one, but I'm going to go with the over 5.5 at plus 102. Carolina's been scoring a lot of goals lately. I know Dallas hasn't, but to me this could be a 4-2 Carolina win with the last goal being an empty netter. 8 o'clock, you have the Predators hosting the Panthers. The Panthers are minus 120. The Preds are plus 102. Over under 5.5. Overs minus 114. Unders minus 106. The Preds plus 1.5 is minus 275. The Panthers minus 1.5 is plus 220. I'm going to go with the Predators as a home dog here. I don't like how Florida's played lately. I know they won their last game. Nashville's just been better than them recently, even though Nashville's a negative goal differential. But Nashville needs this game to hang on to that last playoff spot to stay ahead of Dallas. So I'm going to take them as a home dog against Florida to win here. 9 o'clock, the Oilers and the Jets. The Oilers are minus 116. The Jets are minus 102. Over under 5.5. Overs minus 134. Unders plus 110. Edmonton plus 1.5 or minus 1.5 is plus 225. Winnipeg plus 1.5 is minus 280. I'm going to take the Jets as a home dog here. This is a game for second place in the division. I know Edmonton has the MVP favorite and Leon Draisaitl, but Winnipeg's a solid team of their own right, so I'm going to lay the minus 102 with Winnipeg as a home dog against Edmonton. 10 o'clock, you have the Ducks and the Kings. The Kings are minus 172. The Ducks are plus 144. Over under 5.5. Overs even money. Unders minus 122. Ducks plus 1.5 is minus 194. The Kings minus 1.5 is plus 160. The Kings have fallen from grace since their nice start to the season. I know both these teams are on losing streaks right now. Let's say the Ducks snap out of the 5-game losing streak. I'm going to go with the Ducks as a road dog, plus 144 at Los Angeles. Ducks and over would be an interesting parlay there. And 10:30, the Coyotes and the Sharks. The Coyotes are minus 118. The Sharks are even money. Over under 5.5. Minus 110 each way. Coyotes minus 1.5 is plus 225. Sharks plus 1.5 is minus 280. I'm going to go over 5.5 at even money. At minus 110. At least the overs for the Coyotes are adjusting in the prices, but not necessarily the numbers. So I'm going to go over 5.5 at minus 110 between the Coyotes and the Sharks. So there you have it for hockey today. Now we'll move on to Major League Baseball from the weekend. We will go over all the results from Friday until yesterday. And we will look ahead to today's games. All right. Friday. Cubs over the Brewers 15-2. A's over the Orioles 3-1. Royals over the Tigers 6-2. Yankees over the Indians 5-3. Red Sox over the Mariners 6-5. Blue Jays over the Rays 5-3. Mets over the Nats 6-0. Braves over the D-backs 5-4. Astros over the Angels 5-4 and 10 on a walk-off single by a pinch hitter for the Astros, Robel Garcia. I don't think anybody saw that one coming. Twins over the Pirates 2-0. Jay Happ had a no-hitter through 7 in that game, amazingly enough. White Sox over the Rangers 9-7. Cardinals over the Reds 5-4. Rockies over the Phillies 5-4. Giants over the Marlins 5-3. Padres over the Dodgers 6-1. Saturday, Royals over the Tigers 2-1. Mariners over the Red Sox 8-2. Pirates over the Twins 6-2. Cardinals over the Reds 2-0. Brewers over the Cubs 4-3. Nationals over the Mets 7-1. Astros over the Angels 16-2. Rays over the Blue Jays 5-3. Yankees over the Indians 2-1. A's over the Orioles 7-2. White Sox over the Rangers 2-1. Phillies over the Rockies 7-5. Marlins over the Giants 5-2. And the Dodgers over the Padres 5-4. Diamondbacks Brewers was postponed from Saturday, and there was a doubleheader yesterday. Yesterday's results: Orioles over the Athletics 8-1 to end the Athletics' 13-game win streak. Royals over the Tigers 4-0. Red Sox over the Mariners 5-3. Blue Jays over the Rays 1-0. Indians over the Yankees 7-3. Mets over the Nationals 4-0. D-backs over the Braves 5-0 in game number 1 behind a Zach Gallen one-hitter. Astros over the Angels 4-2. Pirates over the Twins 6-2. Rangers over the White Sox, or vice versa. White Sox over the Rangers 8-4. Cardinals over the Reds 5-2. Brewers over the Cubs 6-0. Rockies over the Phillies 12-2. D-backs over the Braves 7-0 in game number 2. As Madison Bumgarner throws a no-hitter that he won't get credit for. That was his best pitched game as a Diamondback. Giants over the Marlins 4-3. And the Padres over the Dodgers 8-7 in 11 in what was an absolute classic of a Sunday night game. As the Padres rally back from 6 runs down to win it. As they've really proven themselves in the series a little bit. All right. Today's window, 1 o'clock, you have the Royals and the Tigers, so a rare Monday matinee in the AL Central. You have Brad Keller and Spencer Turnbull. The Royals are minus 112. The Tigers are minus 104. Over under 8.5. Overs minus 106. Unders minus 114. Royals minus 1.5 is plus 150. The Tigers plus 1.5 is minus 182. The Royals are 13-7 this year, which is a pleasant surprise. But Brad Keller has been terrible this season. I'm going to go with the Tigers as a home dog, minus 104 against Brad Keller and the Kansas City Royals. 6 o'clock, you got the Twins and the Indians, Jose Barrios and Zach Plesac. The Twins are minus 130. The Indians are plus 110. Over under 7.5. Overs minus 102. Unders minus 120. Twins minus 1.5 is plus 136. Indians plus 1.5 is minus 164. Plesac's been very disappointing this year. Barrios has been solid. I'm going to go over 7.5. I think that the Indians know Barrios well, and they've hit him in the past. And the same for the Twins and Plesac. I think this is an over game. 7 o'clock, you got on ESPN the Cubs and the Braves. So finally, you have Monday Night Baseball on ESPN, because the last couple weeks on Mondays they've been having NBA. Now we see baseball. A game that we saw on Sunday Night Baseball recently, except in Chicago, is now on Monday Night Baseball. Zach Davies and Charlie Morton. The Braves are minus 194. The Cubs are plus 162. Over under 8.5. Overs minus 104. Unders minus 118. Cubs plus 1.5 is minus 130. Braves minus 1.5 is plus 108. I'm going to go with the Cubs on the money line at plus 162 to win the game outright. Charlie Morton's not been good this year. Neither is Zach Davies, obviously, but Morton's been better than Davies. But I just think that the Braves are just overpriced. That's why I'm taking the Cubs. It's just as simple as that. The Yankees and the Orioles, you have Davey Garcia and Matt Harvey. Davey Garcia making his season debut. Obviously, these two teams are tied at the bottom of the American League East. For back. The AL East, I think, is an overrated division as a whole. The Yankees are ridiculous, minus 166. The Orioles are plus 140, over under 9. Overs minus 114, unders minus 106. The Yankees minus 1.5 is plus 104. The Orioles plus 1.5 is minus 125. I'm probably going to regret this pick and go under 9 at minus 106. I think Davey Garcia could pitch well against the Orioles. I do. And I think that Yankees will hit Matt Harvey, but I don't think they'll hit him enough for them to single-handedly go over. I know the Yankees love playing in Camden Yards. I think they have a ridiculous winning streak at Camden Yards. I think they won every game they played there last year. And almost every game the year before. This is a good series for Gleyber Torres to get going. He's owned the Orioles. So I'm going to go under 6, but I know that there's a chance that this is a push. I'm going to say the Yankees win like 6-1 or something like that. You have the A's and the Rays. Sean Manaea and Rich Hill. The A's are minus 118. The Rays are even money. Over under 8.5. Overs minus 105. Unders minus 115. The A's minus 1.5 is plus 146. The Rays plus 1.5 is minus 176. Rich Hill's been terrible this year. Sean Manaea has been good. I'm going to go over. I think that both teams will hit a little bit. I think this could be a 6-3 game for Oakland. 7:30, you got the Marlins and the Brewers. Trevor Rogers and Corbin Burns. That is an excellent pitching matchup, man. The Brewers are minus 176. The Marlins are plus 148. Over under 6.5. Overs minus 112. Unders minus 110. The Marlins plus 1.5 is minus 162. The Brewers minus 1.5 is plus 132. This is a hard one. I'm going to take a shot with the Marlins as a road dog. Burns obviously has been the better pitcher this year. He's a Cy Young candidate for the early going. But I'm going to take a shot with a dog that I think is live at Miami at plus 148. But if anything, Miami first 5, I think, might be the better play. So I'm going to do that instead. Miami first 5 at plus 195. 7:45, you have the Phillies and the Cardinals. Phillies are minus 110. The Cardinals are minus 106. Over under 8. Overs minus 105. Unders minus 115. Phillies minus 1.5 is plus 158. The Cardinals plus 1.5 is minus 192. Zach Wheeler's been solid. Adam Wainwright sucked this year. I'm going to go over 8, a valuable number. I think that Wheeler can regress a little bit here. Cardinal offense get going. Nolan Arenado, Paul Goldschmidt. I'm not going to go Cardinals money line because I think that number, I would get them if they were plus money, but they're not plus money. I'm going to go over instead to be safe. 8 o'clock, you have the Angels and the Rangers. Shohei Ohtani and Jordan Lyles. Ohtani's been good this year as a pitcher. Jordan Lyles has been okay. For this game, I'm going to go under 8.5. I'm going to say Shohei Ohtani pitches well enough for his number to go under. So I'm going under 8.5 at minus 102. The Astros are hosting the Mariners. You got Justice Sheffield and Jose Urquidy. Astros are minus 174. Mariners are plus 146. Over under 9. Overs minus 105. Unders minus 115. The Mariners plus 1.5 is minus 137. The Astros minus 1.5 is plus 114. I'm going to go over at minus 105. I think that the Astros are going to spank Sheffield around a lot. And I think that Urquidy really hasn't found his footing yet. So I'm going to go over 9 at minus 105. 9:45, you have the Rockies at the Giants. Austin Gomber and Anthony DeSclafani. The Giants are minus 178. The Rockies are plus 150. Over under 7.5. Overs minus 102. Unders minus 120. Rockies plus 1.5 is minus 146. The Giants minus 1.5 is plus 122. I love the over here. Anthony DeSclafani's been good this year for San Francisco. Austin Gomber's been solid for Colorado. But how is this 7.5? Like, the bullpens of these teams stink. So I'm going over 7.5 at minus 102. And at 10 o'clock, you have the Reds and the Dodgers. The Reds, by the way, losers of, 7 straight? Or that's streak stap. Yeah, they're losers of 7 straight. You got Tyler Mahle and Julio Urias. The Dodgers are minus 196. The Reds are plus 164. Over under 7. Overs minus 106. Unders minus 114. The Reds plus 1/2 is minus 126. The Dodgers minus 1/2 is plus 105. This is a hard one. First 5 isn't out yet. But when it comes out, I'm going to go Reds first 5. I think the Dodgers will win, but Maley's been good this year. So I'm going to go Reds first 5 whenever that comes out at whatever price it's at. All right, now we will go over the NASCAR results from the weekend from Talladega. We will start in the Xfinity Series. And your winner from this race was Jeb Burton. Good for him. It was a big win for Jeb Burton at a race track that I thought always did well at. Second, Austin Cindric. Third, A.J. Allmendinger. Fourth, Riley Herbst. Fifth, Ryan Sieg. Sixth, Noah Gragson. Seventh, Brendan Brown. Eighth, Justin Haley. Ninth, Matt Snyder. 10th, Harrison Burton. The rest of it, Tommy Joe Martin, Daniel Hemrick, Timmy Hill, Jeremy Clements, Colin Garrett, David Starr, Brett Moffitt, Jay Buford, Colby Howard, Landon Castle, Alex Lab, Jeffrey Earnhardt, Kyle Weatherman, Natalie Decker, Matt Mills, Jesse Little, Josh Williams, Mason Massey, Justin Allgaier, Ryan Vargas, Josh Berry, Michael Annett, Joe Graf Jr., Greg Golding, Ty Dillon, Joey Gase, Brandon Jones, Caesar Barcerella, Jason White, and Bailey Curry. All right, now to the Cup Series results from Talladega. And your winner there was Brad Keselowski, which was a big win for him. And in second place, William Byron. Third, Michael McDowell. Fourth, Kevin Harvick. That was my pick. Fifth, Kaz Gralla. Wow. Sixth, Matt DiBenedetto. Seventh, Tyler Riddick. Eighth, Austin Dillon. Ninth, Ryan Blaney. 10th, Cole Custer. The rest of it, Chase Briscoe. Good finish for him. Anthony Alfredo, Ryan Newman, Ryan Preece, Eric Almirola, Ross Chastain, Chris Bell, Kyle Busch, Bubba Wallace, Harrison Burton, Chris Boucher, Corey LaJoie, Daniel Hemrick, Chase Elliott, B.J. McLeod, J.J. Yealy, Eric Jones, Cody Ware, Timmy Hill, Justin Haley, Martin Truex Jr., Denny Hamlin, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Joey Gase, Kurt Busch, Josh Bilicki, Quentin Half, Alec Bowman, Joey Logano, and in the cellar, Kyle Larson. All right, now I'm going to do my latest NFL mock draft. I'm going to be doing mock drafts on the show daily because the draft is this week. So the segment that we're going to take out for this week are the power rankings for the sports, only because this is draft week and there's going to be a lot of draft focus and draft-related news when it comes to news and notes, which obviously will be in the next segment. So without further ado, my 7th NFL mock draft. Number 1, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence, quarterback, Clemson. This is about a slam dunk of a draft pick that there's been since perhaps Andrew Luck going first overall in 2012. It may take some time, but there's a chance that Lawrence and Urban Meyer can make the Jaguars a formidable franchise for the next decade and a half. Number 2, the New York Jets. Zach Wilson, quarterback, BYU. This selection has felt like a lock for a few months now. After 6 months ago, many people thought this was going to be Justin Fields. Wilson, coming off a breakout season in college, would really fit well in new offensive coordinator Mike LaFleur's offense with his tremendous arm talent. Number 3, the San Francisco 49ers from the Houston Texans via the Miami Dolphins. Justin Fields, quarterback, Ohio State. This speculation makes all the sense in the world, although is drawing attention towards Mac Jones, who had a better 2020 season than Fields, but doesn't have the upside of Fields. His arm talent and accuracy is what should make him get drafted this high. Number 4, the Atlanta Falcons. Kyle Pitts, tight end, Florida. The Falcons are absolutely a prime trade-down candidate with teams trying to move up to select the quarterback or another position of need. Let's say they keep the selection and they use it on Pitts, who would be the pick if the Falcons are trying to extend Matt Ryan's prime, as Pitts is perhaps the best tight end prospect since Rob Gronkowski. 5, the Cincinnati Bengals. Penei Sewell, offensive tackle, Oregon. This should absolutely be the pick for the Bengals if they stay at 5, although selecting Joe Burrow's former teammate Jamar Chase would entice the team. Protection for Burrow is needed after the offensive line failed him last season, which resulted in the ACL injury that ended Burrow's promising rookie season. 6, the Miami Dolphins from the Philadelphia Eagles. Jamar Chase, wide receiver, LSU. The Dolphins coming away with Chase or Kyle Pitts would be a major win for the team, especially Tua Tagovailoa. Chase is someone who opted out of the year last season, which some think may hurt his draft stock, but the talent and upside is really at a high level, which will be hard for the Dolphins and any other teams to pass up on. 7, Detroit Lions. Rashawn Slater, offensive tackle, Northwestern. The Lions are a team that should absolutely trade down because they have a rebuild ahead of themselves. If they keep the pick, Slater would be a solid choice here because they have a need on the offensive line, and Slater is someone that is versatile and would provide Jared Goff some protection. 8, the Carolina Panthers. J.C. Horn, cornerback, South Carolina. The Panthers have some options here as they can go with the wide receiver to help out Sam Darnold as well as the lineman, or a cornerback, which is a position of need. Here I have them doing the latter as the Panthers land themselves somebody who's shown great ability against strong competition in SEC play. 9, the Denver Broncos. Trey Lance, quarterback, North Dakota State. This would be a very risky pick for the Broncos, who have been looking for an upgrade over Drew Lock pretty much all offseason. Lance is somebody that we really haven't seen much over the past season due to the FCS season being held in both the fall and the spring, and we only saw one game of Lance in an exhibition. 10, the Dallas Cowboys. Patrick Surtain II, cornerback, Alabama. The Cowboys have been linked to Surtain for quite a while now due to their dire need at the position. Surtain is somebody that has been battle-tested a lot in college and has the physicality and ball skills to be successful as they finally replaced Byron Jones. 11, New York Giants. Devontae Smith, wide receiver, Alabama. The Giants' goal this offseason is to provide Daniel Jones all the help in the world to succeed. They complete that goal by taking Smith, who's an all-world talent, and he and Kenny Golladay instantly become one of the best receiving duos in the entire league, and this selection also prevents the division rival Eagles from taking the reigning Heisman winner. 12, the Philadelphia Eagles from the San Francisco 49ers via the Miami Dolphins. Jalen Waddle, wide receiver, Alabama. One pick after Devontae Smith goes his teammate in Waddle to a different NFC East club. Waddle is somebody that the Eagles would be thrilled with due to their lack of top wideouts on their roster as they reunite Waddle with his former quarterback in Jalen Hurts. I should say former college quarterback. 13, Los Angeles Chargers. Christian Darrisaw, offensive tackle, Virginia Tech. The Chargers are a team that is closer to contention than folks think. Here I have them taking the talented lineman in Darrisaw, who would provide great protection for Justin Herbert and has the tools to be a Pro Bowl tackle. 14, the Minnesota Vikings. Kwity Paye, defensive end, Michigan. The Vikings have a choice here, and most people believe they'll go with the lineman, but the question is what side of the ball. Here I have them going with the defensive pass rusher here with Paye, who would really give the Vikings insurance in case they lose Daniel Hunter in the future with his status up in the air. 15, the New England Patriots. Mac Jones, quarterback, Alabama. This pick would make a ton of sense with Cam Newton on a one-year deal and the connection that Bill Belichick and Nick Saban have. What concerns me about Jones is whether last season was who he really is, or is he a product of the great talent around him in college. It would not shock me if the Pats move up for a quarterback or stayed put here and took a different position on either side of the ball. 16, the Arizona Cardinals. Greg Newsome, cornerback, Northwestern. Newsome is somebody whose stock is rising with the draft coming up on Thursday. With the loss of Patrick Peterson, this pick would make a lot of sense as Newsome would come in and replace him with his great overall skill set. 17, the Las Vegas Raiders. Tevin Jenkins, offensive tackle, Oklahoma State. The Raiders' biggest need lies on the defensive side of the ball, but they can also use a lineman with some of the losses on the line this offseason. Jenkins is someone whose stock is rising, and this pick would scream a classic Raiders pick in which they overdraft a position of need. 18, the Miami Dolphins. Jalen Phillips, defensive end, Miami. Here we have a homecoming of some sort with Phillips staying in Miami and getting picked by the Dolphins. The team has a need on the pass rush, and what could possibly hold Phillips back is his health. 19, the Washington professional football team. Micah Parsons, outside linebacker, Penn State. This would be a major steal for Washington as they make a solid pass rush unit even better. Parsons' character issues is what has teams weary, and it can cause him to drop in this draft. 20, the Chicago Bears. Caleb Farley, quarterback, Virginia Tech. This would be a solid pick for the Bears, who have options here with this pick as they can pick whatever hole on their roster they have. Farley opted out last season, and that combined with the back surgery he had makes this a risky pick, which could be a great pick if he is healthy and produces up the capability. 21, the Indianapolis Colts. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, linebacker, Notre Dame. Offensive line is a need due to the retirement of Anthony Costanzo, but here I have them grabbing the talented linebacker. Owusu-Koramoah, along with Darius Leonard and DeForest Buckner in the same front seven, would create havoc for opponents. 22, the Tennessee Titans. Azeez Ojulari, defensive end, Georgia. This would be a solid pick for the Titans who need help on their pass rush. New addition Bud Dupree cannot do it alone, and Ojulari is someone who got better every year in college and is somebody that is very versatile. 23, the New York Jets from the Seattle Seahawks. Najee Harris, running back, Alabama. The Jets have a lot of options here, and here I have them snagging the talented running back in Harris. I do not love the idea of taking Harris here, but it's not inconceivable due to his great playmaking ability and finding holes to run. 24, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Elijah Vera Tucker, offensive tackle, USC. This would be a great pick for the Steelers, who need to replace Alejandro Villanueva on their offensive line, assuming they don't bring him back. Vera Tucker is somebody that is versatile and will help Ben Roethlisberger stay upright. 25, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Wyatt Davis, offensive tackle, Ohio State. Davis here at 25 would be a major reach, and there are better offensive linemen available in theory of this mock draft. Davis is somebody that obviously has ties to Ramar with Ohio State, which would make this match possible. 26, the Cleveland Browns. Christian Barmore, defensive tackle, Alabama. The Browns are a team that don't have much holes on their roster. Barmore is somebody that would bolster their interior of their defensive line and would help Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney get their sacks. 27, the Baltimore Ravens. Rashad Bateman, wide receiver, Minnesota. Now with the 2 first-round picks, the Ravens go with the talented wideout in Bateman. This would be a nice fit, and Bateman will complement Marquise Brown very well with his versatility, with his ability to play slot or outside. Number 28, the New Orleans Saints. Zaven Collins, outside linebacker, Tulsa. The Saints roll with the talented linebacker in Collins, who needs some youth at the position with Demario Davis aging. Collins has the size of a defensive end and the speed and athleticism to succeed at the next level. 29, the Green Bay Packers. Rondale Moore, wide receiver, Purdue. The Packers finally get Aaron Rodgers a weapon in the first round. Moore is someone that I feel was super underrated heading into the draft due to his inconsistencies, but he does check all the boxes in terms of what teams are looking for in drafting players. 30, the Buffalo Bills. Asante Samuel Jr., cornerback, Florida State. The Bills to me are a trade-down candidate due to their lack of needs and teams in the top of the second round potentially trading back into the end of the first. Samuel Jr. is someone who I feel is underrated, and him and Trey White is a nice duo. 31, the Baltimore Ravens from the Kansas City Chiefs. Alex Weatherwood, offensive tackle, guard, Alabama. With the trading of Orlando Brown, they replaced him here with the pick they acquired in the trade with the Chiefs. Weatherwood is a plug-and-play guy as he's versatile, and you can make a case he should go higher than this. 32, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Gregory, Russo, defensive end, Miami. 6 months ago, folks looked at Russo as a top 10 pick, lock, and boy has he fallen. The Bucs brought the band back together to get the best quarterback of all time, his 8th ring, but a few of their defensive linemen are set to be free agents in a year from now, so this pick makes sense as Russo can learn from the veterans and then become a starter afterwards. So there you have it with the mock draft. Now I'm going to do the latest news and notes. I'm going to try to be quick here. The Patriots are eyeing Justin Fields. Teams within the draft's top 10 believe New England is targeting the Ohio State quarterback after making calls to trade up. I think this would be a great move for New England and would put them back into contender status potentially for years to come. Beat them and the Bills and maybe the Jets with Zach Wilson in the future and the Dolphins with Tua. That would probably become like the most interesting division in the future in the league if that were to happen. And apparently the 49ers are down to Mac Jones and Trey Lance. But my mock draft says Justin Fields. But what do we call this? Lying season. These are all lies that we're hearing right now. I won't be shocked if Fields is the pick for the Niners on Thursday night. We shall see. Christian Barmore concerns teams as they're worried about his resistance to coaching ahead of the draft. The New York Football Giants are split on the number 11th pick. Joe Judge loves Devontae Smith. The organization likes J.C. Horn. And Dave Gettleman loves Micah Parsons. If Micah Parsons is a consideration, they should trade down. And Dave Gettleman is open to trading down. He admitted that. But he says that the opportunity hasn't come about for them within the last couple years. But when reality is what they should have done is they should have traded down in 2018 as instead they took Saquon Barkley, which Saquon Barkley's a great player, don't get me wrong, but they could have got a lot for that pick as teams are looking to move up for quarterbacks that year. And hopefully Atlanta doesn't make the same mistaken theory that the Giants made. Although Saquon Barkley, like Kyle Pitts, is a great player, but at the time for the Giants, because of Eli Manning on their roster, they had to rebuild and get more assets at the time. But it looks like that they're in a better spot now than they were 3 years ago. And speaking of the Falcons, teams are calling about Julio Jones as the Falcons have received calls about Julio, but a deal can't happen before June 1st due to cap reasons. We talked about Madison Bumgarner throwing a no-hitter. Trevor Bauer and Fernando Tatis have been going back at it on Twitter. Obviously, Tatis hit the big home run off of Bauer, and this is where it all started. Oakland's winning streak ended yesterday. We talked about that. Orlando Magic guard and G League MVP Devin Kennedy fractured his ankle and will undergo surgery. He's played well for the Magic. Jason Preston declares for the draft, but will maintain his ability. That's just breaking news coming down from Shams. As the Ohio guard has declared for the draft. Rashawn Holmes came back last night for Sacramento. Well, I meant to say the G League Finals MVP, not the G League MVP, regarding Kennedy. Kevin Durant came back yesterday against the Suns. That was a big difference in their game, in their victory. Will Barton's out for extended time for Denver. But the biggest injury-related news that came from the weekend is that LeBron James may return to the lineup as early as this week after missing over a month with a high ankle sprain. That would be major. They get him right for the playoffs, and the Lakers are off and running. Big news in women's college basketball is Kim Mulkey left Baylor to go to LSU as 3 titles in 21 years at Baylor, and now Mulkey goes home to LSU. I think that LSU will really be in a good spot here with Mulkey as she comes home. So, obviously, LSU, Nikki Fargas resigned, and she will take over the Las Vegas Aces team presidency job. So, I think that Mulkey will do a good job with LSU. And now the question is, who does Baylor hire? They have people to consider. There's names that I have in my head in terms of who could potentially replace Mulkey at Baylor. I know it's a hard task, but we shall see who replaces Mulkey. We'll get to that. This is, I think, the most interesting news from the weekend is that the Yankees and the Angels talked about an Aaron Judge trade as the teams very briefly discussed a possible deal involving Aaron Judge this past offseason, but nothing advanced. I don't know how real that is, but it's interesting. I think that the Yankees are skeptical of Judge and his ability to stay healthy. It's why fellow New York team Knicks traded Kristaps Porzingis. Obviously, the Knicks didn't get a lot back for him. At the time, it didn't look like it, but it looks like they got the better end of this trade because, let's face it, Dennis Smith Jr. turns into Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose is a big part of this team right now. And that was according to Buster Olney. And Judge won't hit free agency until after the 2023 season, so he's under control for a couple more seasons. Shane Gostisbehere has an MCL sprain as the Flyers D-man will miss about a week and a half due to the injury he suffered on Friday night against the Rangers. Hyunjin Ryu has a glute strain as he left the game against the Rays in the 4th inning, and now he'll be out. That's a big loss for Toronto as they lose their ace. Christian Yelich is out as he's getting a look at his back. So that's a big loss for the Brewers offense. And that's a big reason why I have Miami tonight. Obviously, one of the big stories from the weekend was UFC 261 as Kamaru Usman KOs Jorge Masvidal in round 2 to retain his welterweight title. So that was a big story from UFC 261. And also in that UFC, Chris Weidman got injured as he really, that was a gruesome leg injury. And hopefully he gets well soon. And the other big story that came out of UFC 261 is that Daniel Cormier confronted YouTuber Jake Paul. And the fans had his back by shouting some explicits at him. A couple more items to hit on for news and notes. The Memphis Grizzlies signed Tim Frazier for the rest of the season after completing his 10-day contract. Tim Frazier has played well for them in a role that suits him well coming off the bench. And last but not least, Lakers, we talked about LeBron coming back. Frank Vogel and the Lakers plan to talk about contract extension talks during the offseason. They should extend Frank Vogel. He's done a great job. Obviously, he won the championship with the Lakers last year. Could very well repeat this year. I was the one that said that this would have been a better choice than Tyronn Lue. And I think Lue is somebody that is a product of his stars, as you could very well see again here at the Clippers in the postseason, as we saw with the Cavaliers after LeBron left. Lue got fired, and it was proven that he was a product of the stars. And I think that's the same here with the Clippers, depending on how they do in the postseason. Although Lue won a title, but LeBron James was on that team, for crying out loud. He was arguably the worst coach to win a championship in sports in the 2010s. Although there are some other ones that were not good as well that you could think of. How do people feel about Gary Kubiak and Pete Carroll? Obviously, in the NBA, you had some great ones. Carlisle, Spoelstra, Popovich, Kerr, who some people are mixed on as well. Nick Nurse is a good coach in the NBA. Barry Trotz is a great coach in the NHL. Mike Sullivan's another one you could argue is a little overrated because of Crosby. But I think Sullivan's done a great job with the Penguins. I think he's a better coach than Ty Lue was with the Cavaliers. So, interesting news with Vogel and the Lakers with the contract extension. I think that'd be well-deserved for Frank Vogel. All right, now we will go over the Oscars from last night. We'll just go over the award winners and the 93rd edition of the Academy Awards. All right. Best Picture, Nomadland. Best Director, Chloe Zhao of Nomadland. Best Actor, Anthony Hopkins from The Father. As I actually bet on that at 7-1. Good job by me. Best Actress, Frances McDormand, Nomadland. Best Supporting Actor, Daniel Kaluuya, Judas and the Black Messiah. Best Supporting Actress, Yeon Young-jung, Minari. Best Original Screenplay, Promising Young Women. Best Adapted Screenplay, The Father. Best Animated Feature Film, Soul. Best International Feature Film, Another Round. Best Documentary, My Octopus Teacher. Best Documentary Short Subject, Colette. Best Live Action Short Film, Due Distant Strangers. Best Animated Short Film, If Anything Happens, I Love You. Best Original Score, Soul. Best Original Song, Fight For You from the Judas and the Black Messiah. Best Sound, Sound of Metal. Best Production Design, Mank. Best Cinematography, Mank. Best Hair Makeup or Hairstyling and Makeup, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Best Costume Design, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Best Film Editing, Sound of Metal. And Best Visual Effects, Tenet. So there you have it for the awards for the 93rd Academy Awards, a.k.a. the 2021 Oscars, as this obviously took place a little later in the year because of the COVID-19 pandemic. All right, last but not least, my best bet of the day, brought to you by FanDuel. There are some interesting choices on the board around the sports world. I'm going to lay a unit on a game in the NBA, and it's going to be I'm sorry, it's actually going to be a total, not a game necessarily. I'm going to go over 207.5 between the Bulls and the Heat. I think that this goes over because I think that the Bull defense stinks, obviously. With or without Levine, that unit stinks. I think Vucevic has always had success against the Heat. So, give me over 207.5 between the Bulls and the Heat for my best bet of the day. All right, that's it for today's show. I'll be back tomorrow recapping everything from the NBA, NHL, and Major League Baseball from today, looking ahead to tomorrow's games, another NFL mock draft for you as well, and any other news in the world of sports and pop culture I'll have for you as well, and we will recap the Sesame Street thing that ABC is doing tonight as well. Hope you guys have a great day, everyone.